Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I'm talking about a couple of pens, but I want to show this one just to start the video. This is an original Parker 51. It is a hooded nib, sort of cigar shaped body, simple capping system, the arrow clip, the little peaked dome on the top there. It is a classic, a vintage classic, and a pen that is held up by collectors and users the world over. This is the Parker 51. Why am I talking about this pen? Well, the two pens I'm comparing today are these pens. On the left here, we have the reimagined Parker 51. Now, you can obviously see the resemblance. It is the new generation released in the last couple of years of the Parker 51. The Parker 51 being one of the most successful pens of all time. Which is why a lot of other brands have made pens that resemble and take design elements and even copy the Parker 51. And Jinhao is one of those brands. Jinhao is a Chinese fountain pen manufacturing company, and they have made this pen, the 85, which is another recent release, and as well as a number of other pens that are in this design style as well. So today, I'm doing a comparison of these two pens that came out within months of each other, one being around $10 and one being up to $90. So, I have done reviews of both of these pens. If you want to see those reviews specifically, they link down below. Both have been reviewed in the last little while. So today, I'm going to talk about what sets these two pens apart. Something that happened when these pens were released is that there was a lot of sort of social media stuff about the Parker 51 Reimagined, saying basically things along the lines of, it's just the Jinhao 85, it's the same pen made in the same factory, all of those kinds of things. Well, I think if you look at the two pens, firstly, you can see they are very, very related. That's undeniable, but there's a lot of differences to these pens, and so that's what I'm sort of going to cover today. Looking at the tops of the pens, lots of similarities there. Slight differences in the manufacturing. The clip is a different design on that arrow clip. The cap is both a metal, and there are different finishes of the 85 available, but it's got this particular model has the grooves down the cap. It's slightly different dimension, ever so slightly. Then when it comes to the body of the pen, this is a lacquered brass on the Jinhao, and the Parker is plastic. So injection molded plastic, even down to having a slight remnant of some of the injection molding marks and things on the pen itself. The Parker is made in France. The Jinhao is made in China. And a lot of that attributes is where the price comes from. $10, $95 or $90, big differences. Let's take the caps off now. And you can see there's slight differences in the capping. So once again, you've got metal threads here, plastic threads. The band is slightly different. The length of the section is different. Like the Jinhao has a bigger section. And in terms of the nib, like this is a medium nib. So a writing sample, I will do one, but a writing sample kind of, one's a medium, one's a fine, so like you're going to get a difference there anyway. But there's different lines to the cut. These are very different pens. Parker uses a proprietary cartridge converter system, whereas Jinhao uses an almost standard international. Some standard international will fit it, but it is provided with a converter itself. Both pens screw to cap, which is nice. The original Parker 51 was a slip cap, and that convenience was a nice feature of that pen. But both of these do cap quite securely, and they both do post, but neither posts as well as the original Parker 51. The Parker here just caps better than the Jinhao, which posts rather badly. Before I do a writing sample with both, I wanted to show them next to each other with size dimensions. So what we have is the Jinhao 85 is 143 millimeters, where the Parker 51, the new version, is 140 millimeters. Uncapped is where I think the Jinhao comes into its own. It's 127 millimeters versus the 118, and that extra almost centimeter does make a difference in the hand with this pen unposted. Then, as I said, both pens post, the Parker posting a lot better than the Jinhao there, which is a very insecure posting, but that extra length in the barrel means that you don't need to write with this pen posted. The length is 170 on the posted Jinhao versus 153 on the Parker 51. The grip sections are very similar, ranging from around the 8mm mark to around the 10mm mark. And the weight of the pens is fairly similar as well, 26 grams with 16 in the body and 10 in the cap versus 23 grams, which is 12 in the body and 11 in the cap. So much of a muchness, and in terms of balance, you don't get much of a difference between the two. As I said, I have done reviews of both of these pens recently, so you can check those out for more specific details on each pen. But let's just do a very quick writing sample to see them both in action. So what we have is the Jinhao 85, which is a fine with Waterman Serenity Blue. Which is smooth, is very reliable, and has a nice wetness to it. Now we have the Parker 51 in a medium. As I said, this is the reimagined 2020-2021 released Parker 51. And the ink in this is, once again, Waterman Serenity Blue. This pen, being a medium, is smoother. I have a feeling that if I'd gotten this in a fine, it would be fairly similar. Once again, fairly wet, a nice nib, a nice basic, very basic steel nib, both being, you know, steel nibs. The original Parker 51s had a lot of gold nibs, and I think you can get a gold nib version of the new version. But this is just the steel version here in comparison with the Jinhao 85 with its steel nib. So obviously comparing pens from different companies, different countries, different nib sizes, that kind of thing, it's a bit rough. And I'm not trying to say necessarily which one's better. Everyone is going to have their opinion and their favourite, and everyone is going to have their feelings about companies that take design elements from Parker. And a lot of people are going to have a lot of feelings about the new Parker 51 because of their love of the original Parker 51, which was such a great pen. So what are the specific pros of each pen, in my opinion, and why do I, feel this way? Well, firstly, I think on a very, very base level, if we're talking price, 10 US versus 90 US is a huge difference. Both pens right. Both have reliable nibs. The Parker being a little smoother, it could be because it is a medium, and the Jinhao one being actually probably a little bit more reliable in a lot of ways. It's not that the Parker is prone to skipping or anything like that necessarily, but there are a few little things I don't love about the nib, as you'll see if you watch the review. I prefer the size of the Jinhao. I don't think the new Parker 51 posts as well as the original. The original, when it posted, felt like it should be posted in your hand. A bit like when you're writing with, say, a Lamy 2000, or in a recent pen that I've been using, the Gravitas Entry, which posts so well that it feels like that is how the pen is designed to be written with. This one doesn't quite feel like that, and of course the Jinhao not at all. So the Jinhao's length, when it's unposted, feels much nicer in the hand. And really, if you want a plastic pen, get a Parker, spend the extra. If you want the metal version, get the Jinhao. Those are things that people prefer. For instance, I would carry the the Jinhao in my pocket before I carried the Parker. I could treat it a little bit rougher, and at that price, if it got a little bit banged up, I would be less upset. So for me, what would I do? Well, I have both, obviously, here. I bought both of these pens. I really like the Jinhao. I like how that feels on the page. I like the fineness of that nib. It's a good width for me. The Parker, being a Parker, is nice to have that sort of prestige, but I am a lover of the original Parker 51. So for me, having that cheapened version of the pen feels a little bit rough. Those are just my thoughts and my comparison of these two pens. I hope you found it interesting and useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications button if you want to stay up to date with the videos that I produce. Please feel free to get in touch using any of the platforms listed below. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at @the_offstage_me, or you can contact me on any of my videos here or drop me an email which is listed down below. If you've got products you think I should be looking at, or if there's a way you'd like to support the channel by sponsoring a review or providing an item for review, I would love to hear from you. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.